Hello, everybody. So, I I came across a poll survey on Twitter, and it reads the following: You have just one day to live. Who amongst the following would you entrust with $200 billion assets to hand over to your children? The options had Muhammad Buhari, Atiku, Abubakar, Goodluck, Ebele Jonathan. And Buhari had 80%, 9%, and Jonathan 12%. About at least more than 10,000 people voted. And that was the result. And what this reveals is the number one reason why Nigerians are poor. This mentality of leaders is the number one reason Nigerians are poor. Number one reasons Nigerians are not free. You are not free, you are going to be poor. And why is that? Because what this reveals is our obsession with leaders. A typical Nigerian mentality is whatever anything is wrong, we blame leaders. We blame our leaders because we entrust them with everything that has to do with us. Everything. Everything. From head to toe. The way a Nigerian thinks of development, of governance, is leadership. We believe once we have the right leadership, everything would work. And we accompany that with responsibilities. And that's where the problem lies. We view development as this system of entrusting leaders with our assets. And so because, we entrust them with our assets and we expect them to deliver. And so we keep going through that cycle of who is the right person to manage our assets, to build us roads, to build us schools, hospitals. We have these natural resources, our assets, our land, our resources, everything goes to these people. And so we kept ourselves in a continuous cycle of trying to find someone who would take care of these assets and use it in return to take care of us. That is the mentality of a typical Nigerian. And that is why we are poor. Anytime there's a test as to if you fall in that category, what do you think Nigeria's problem is? Good leaders? Or you are not free? if you gravitate towards good leaders, I am sorry to tell you, you are among those typical average Nigerian who thinks we need good leaders, that we give them, we entrust them with these assets to take care of us. The 1999 Constitution, I must say, it was not voted by Nigerians, so it wasn't put to vote. And so with everything it has amassed and assigned to people, to politicians, I will not directly blame Nigerians factually. However, if Nigerians have seen anything wrong with entrusting our land, our resources, our education, everything about us, electricity, to politicians, Nigerians would have complained long time ago. And maybe the system would have changed. But that has never happened. And there are a handful of Nigerians like me, who are pushing against that standard norm, that we think our problem is not leadership, it's freedom. We need freedom. And freedom means you are responsible to take care of these assets, not anyone else. Let these assets be our rights as they are, God-given rights. Let us keep it and use it to take care of ourselves by ourselves, instead of entrusting these assets into the public arena, into the hands of politicians, again seeking a prophet-like figure or someone to use those assets to take care of us in return. So that was why I thought I would say a few things on this poll, because what this poll is doing, there's nothing wrong with Kayode, the originator of the poll. There's nothing wrong with Buhari or Atiku or Abubakar. There's nothing wrong with them as is wrong with me. No one is good or bad. We are judged by, in a sense, by our character, right? So I'm not here blaming any one of these people. What I'm pointing here is the general mentality with Nigerians to how we view governance, how we view development. What brings development? We think of good leaders. We need good leaders. And we entrust them with our lives, with our resources to take care of us. You will see now and again, for example, on Facebook, on Twitter, Nigerians posting pictures of dilapidated schools, of dilapidated roads, universities complaining, seeking the intervention of our leaders. All the time, we seek our leaders to come and fix these things, instead of asking that these rights, the right to fix this road, the right to educate our children, let it be given to us so we can do it. Instead of that, no, that's not what Nigerians ask. When you see Nigerians protesting, I am almost 100% certain we are protesting lack of good leadership. We need some set of people to come and fix that problem. So what is wrong with that route? Well, one, let me give you an example. Let's say you have this house, right? Actually, let me use this example. You have these assets, 200 billion dollars. And obviously you have two choices, than to keep it or to give it to me, and in return, I will take care of your needs. By giving me that money, instead of you keeping it, instead of that money being in your name, there's lots of consequences. One, for sure, if I'm a bad guy, that means I might not take care of your needs. Two, you be careful not to offend me, because if you do, then your assets are with me. You know, if I ask anything of you, you will do it. Really? You sue me as more superior to you. That's all kinds of bad consequences as a result of that. I could use that money to help myself instead of using that money to help yourself. For example, if it is land, I could use that land for collateral to take loan, but you can't use it. The money is not in your hand. It's not in your name. So all kinds of bad stuff. And it's going to cost you extra more in the process, right? So you give me this to take care of it. I'm certainly going to eat something in it. You're going to pay me. Somehow that money is going to be spent on me. So that is an income you've lost. That is not freedom. So that is a problem with that route. It's totally different if it is something that it's in your name. You can use it however you want. But in general, this is the problem. This is why we are poor. We have entrusted our lives to in the hands of politicians instead of us. So what is the solution here? The solution here is really simple. We need to take back our assets. Everything that the government does, we take it back and do it ourselves. Literally. That's what true federalism means to me. And that's what restructuring means to me. We take that back, give it to ourselves, and the only thing we leave in the realms of government is public safety. That's all. Public safety. Protection of freedom. To protect us so that we can use our property, that's our assets and everything we have, and live free, to use it as we want, to educate our children as we want, to just live our lives. That is the solution. So what are those functions in example that government should have? Like I said, public safety, but what are those? Policing, defense, court system. That's basically it. Protection is the only thing, is the only legitimate function of government. Anything else is bad. Literally, everything else is bad and is immoral. Stealing is immoral. Killing is immoral. Anything that you take from someone else is immoral. And that is the same thing with anything we give government to do out of the sphere of protecting our freedom. To summarize, I would like to remind us of what the problem is here. The problem with this poll, it displays our mentality of development, how do we progress? We progress in a typical Nigerian mentality by entrusting our assets to politicians, and then politicians in return take care of us. And that is wrong. That is the wrong way to view progress, to view how to progress. The correct way to view how to progress is those assets, the schooling, everything else, we give it to us. Let us use these assets ourselves individually to take care of our needs. For example, I'm going to give you a good example. Like, for example, resources, natural resources, oil, for example. If you find oil in your land, it should be yours. You can use that resources to take care of your needs. If I find one too, it's mine. I will use it to take care of my needs, instead of entrusting that to the government. That's what restructuring is about, and that's why this is so important. As long as we keep thinking that government is the solution, like we entrust politicians to take care of us, we will still be poor and unstable. Thank you for listening.